What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Cure, as well as a vocal Luca. And I'm doing something now that I've been meaning to do for like a half dozen or so Cure reactions, and every time I go to shoot it, apparently it slips out of my mind, and in multiple cases, pretty quickly after I finish, I remember there's someone who's been following the Cure reactions named Elmar who has sent me multiple donations on PayPal, and I've said before, donations either monthly over on Patreon or in one-off form through my PayPal are so greatly appreciated and genuinely help me do what I do because they allow me to take time to shoot videos and reactions and watch-alongs and so on while still making sure that I meet my budget on a monthly level. So once again, big shout out to Elmar who has sent multiple reactions or donations for the reactions, and who in the note that you can apply for PayPal donations has written Cure reactions, or like for the Cure reactions. So again, big shout out to you. I've been meaning to say that for multiple months now, and as I said, every time I would go to shoot a video it would slip my mind, and then in several cases within a few minutes of finishing it was like, oh my god, I forgot to mention it again. So finally I have remembered. Thank you to Luca as well. In any case, we're continuing with The Head on the Door, 1985, is that right? In the moment, I'm forgetting if that's the year, I think it is. And the next tune, is it The Blood? Am I remembering this correctly? Yes, The Blood. So, of course, blood is sanguine, but something which gives you an immediate image, and I suppose it's a bit of a science point to suggest that we think of it as being red, but that's only after it's been oxidized, after it has come into contact with oxygen in the atmosphere, meaning I think in your veins it is more or less blue. In any case, it is the life essence of living things, or most living things, I suppose. It is, of course, something that can speak to violence. If one is attacked violently, blood might be shed. So it's both a life-sustaining substance, and if you're seeing blood, it might indicate a life coming to an end, or at least being harmed. So yeah, and in a way it's on both ends of the life spectrum. Of course, it might just be a concept that is not related to violence or the perpetuation of life specifically, so I'll see what I can catch on a first listen. This is The Cure. The track is The Blood, and it's from their 1985 album, The Head on the Door. Very Spanish.
Tell me who doesn't love what can never come back? Who can never forget how it used to feel? The illusion is deep.
Robert's singing on that one. It's more or less in his straightaway vein, but there's a couple lines there, and then one particularly right before the end, where it's like the emotion is a bit too much. It's like making his psychology and by extension his voice crack and sort of like wither apart. So yeah, I enjoy his singing in its normal vein, and then here it's like he's doing this conceptual overexpression to the point where it's almost breaking down melodically because I think his the experience of it all is too much. Now, admittedly, I don't quite know what's happening lyrically, though there's like tidbits. I caught a lot of the lines, although one of the main lines of the chorus I'm a bit ambiguous about, because when it first went down, I thought he was saying like he's paralyzed by the blood of life, which is like, again, blood sustaining life, but if you feel paralyzed by it, it's all infusing, and thus you would be completely stricken and paralyzed. But then I thought he was saying the blood of Christ, which, of course that has very significant theological meanings, and, not just in regard to his crucifixion, but the sacrament of communion, and the idea of blood as this, what's the right word? Oh, I'm like my youth in Catholic school is failing me here, but the like covenant between the followers of Christ and the expression of that commitment through the sacrament of communion, the idea of drinking the blood of Christ and so on. And then that makes me think that maybe the sonics here, which are very Spanish, again, we have this like Spanish style guitar, almost like a Rodrigo composition, mixed with the castanets, again, very Spanish, like folk traditional dance. But then we had that like flute riff, which has a bit of like an Arab Near Eastern feel, and that makes me think of, what was the, like Al Andalusia, which is like part of Spain that was occupied by Arabs and Muslims for multiple centuries before the Reconquista. And so then I'm wondering if maybe I'm hearing that line right as the blood of Christ, then maybe that, like, it's related to whatever's happening here narratively. But okay, so regardless of the validity of that, we have lines about, like, how we can't go back to the way it was before. So things have changed, and now it's different, and there's no way to bridge that temporal and conceptual divide. But then he's saying, like, we can't forget what it used to be like. So then it's like, it can't go back to being that, but we'll always remember what that was as it's distinct from what is now. Oh, and there was another line that I caught, which, of course, now in the moment I'm forgetting. So if I can't recall that before the end of the reaction, I'll just say that it feels like maybe this does have something to do with Spain. Of course, that could just be kind of a conceptual setting, and this could be, once again, about a relationship where he's saying, that's the way it used to be. We can't access that. We also can't forget it. I'm sort of paralyzed in the moment, and, the blood as some sort of indicator of lifeblood, which now, is paralyzing. It's not sustaining. So, yeah, again, I don't quite know what's happening here. I caught tidbits. It's all very interesting, no matter how you interpret it. But as I said, it feels like some of Robert's vocal delivery is lending sonic expression to some of the concepts at play. Nevertheless, I enjoy the Spanish guitar type of sound. Certainly there's some bass groove there that is more or less what I've come to expect from Cure songs, although again, saying that, there's been a lot of variety over the course of the material I've heard just up until this point, which still is like a minority fraction of their album discography, never mind non-album tunes. I did go through the compilation of non-album singles, but again, I know there's other like B-sides and so on that for now we're jumping over. Nevertheless, yes, it's in a way very Cure sounding, Robert's vocals, the bass work, even some of the guitar work, but in another way it's more particularly flavored with a Spanish/Arab twist that is not necessarily reflective of a lot of other Cure songs that I've heard. So it's like unique and typical at the same time. Not typical in a bad way, but typical in a, what I've come to see as their usual sonic flavors. In any case, yeah, I enjoyed it. I definitely like the overall arrangement, the way everything comes together, and like I said, I enjoy Robert's vocals burning a bit too hot and almost melodically, overstretching themselves, especially that last line. I am thinking now in the moment, I haven't done a Cure video reaction for, I don't know, a couple months, so when I do another batch in the coming weeks of video reactions over on Patreon, I will try to include one of those. And if you didn't know, some of them haven't been able to post on YouTube. I'm still very behind on putting video reactions onto YouTube. They've been building up over the last few batches over there, which in a way I've allowed to happen because I am trying to encourage more people to go over to my Patreon. Certainly if you're willing to be a full member, but even if you're just a free member, you can see video reactions over there that have been blocked here on YouTube, and some that I just haven't gotten around to trying to post here on YouTube. So yeah, it's not the worst thing, but at some point my plan is on catching up and trying to get at least a few more here on YouTube, and if they're not allowed to post and they get blocked, putting up a teaser with a link to the full reaction over on Patreon. In any case, the point is, I'll try to do another Cure video reaction soon. Do let me know what you think of this tune. Once again, shout out to Phil for providing the Cure discography, and as I've mentioned, these albums are all deluxe editions, and I'm for now skipping over the second disc with, demos and B-sides and so on. But at some point, we will circle back and go through those as well. Let me know what you think, and Luca and I will see you next time. Peace.